Welcome back, everybody. Tonight, I get to talk with both of my children. It's the first time I've done one with 3 people in the same room. And these are my babies. And although they hate that now because they're older, but we don't really have a game plan. We're just going to kind of see where this goes. And Alex, say hello.
Hello.
Why
Back
did I
again.
stroke?
Yeah, I had stroke. Yeah, of course it's stroking now.
My baby, say hello.
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 Yeah, that's crazy.
So we were talking about memories that we have, and one of the ones was the story that we talked about, Alina and I talked about, where Alec, I don't remember how old you were, 7?
I was 7.
And you domed yourself off the fucking windowsill.
Yep.
And had to get staples in your head.
Yeah, I did.
But now we have first person perspective, so go ahead.
Yeah, so I was jumping on the bed as a 7-year-old does.
Yep.
And so mom sees me jumping on the bed. She says, Alec, you're going to hurt yourself. And,
we were running down the hallway and jumping on the bed.
Yeah, sprint. Oh, yeah. I was jumping on the bed, but that is how I bust my head. It wasn't just jumping. It's because I like to run and sprint and slide on the bed.
Mm-hmm.
And it just so happened my pillow is right next to the corner of a marble windowsill. So I kept doing that. Mom was like, you're going to hurt yourself doing that. Sure shit, 10 seconds later, I said, no, I won't. Smashed my head off the windowsill.
Yep.
And at first I thought I just had a bump on my head, so I was just covering my head and everyone was laughing. I told you, it was like, haha. I was just like, man, that hurt. And I'm just sitting on top of the bed laughing, and then all of a sudden I see blood go drip, drip, drip. And the haha, I hurt my head, went just to me straight panicking.
No, you started crying, and then you went, Mom, I'm dying.
Listen, I was 7, and there's blood coming out of my head.
Yeah.
It's a pretty understandable reaction.
It affects the man.
But do you want to tell them what you did?
So we were running down the hallway onto our beds. Obviously Mom was like, you guys are going to hurt yourself, stop. And we're like, just one more, because,
yeah,
we're done.
Yeah.
And Alec had a higher up bed because he was older than me, so he had, run and jump, and mine was, on the floor, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
So we ran, and he slid. He missed his pillowcase and hit the marble corner. And then, he, started, rubbing his head, and he, had blood on his fingers, and he looks at me and Mom, starts crying, and goes, I'm dying! And then, we, spring into action, and we have to, go to the emergency room and stuff.
Well, Mom looked at it first, she's like, oh, it can't be that bad. Maybe thinking I just cut my head a little bit.
Yeah.
And then when I really started panicking, where she looked, she's like, oh, no. I was like, oh, shit.
Do you guys remember what I was doing? Did you ever get that?
I think Mom called you twice, which the rule was if it's a double call, it's an emergency. Yeah. And weren't you in the middle of arresting someone? So you had, your knee on their back while cuffing them with...
It was a group fight. There was probably 15 people getting arrested all at one time.
Oh, shit.
And yeah, I had just got done scuffling with an individual who didn't want to go to jail.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I had him on the ground in the process of handcuffing him and got the double call. And I finished handcuffing, and I'm like, yeah, what's going on? Alec just busted his head open. He needs stitches. We're going to the emergency room. I said, give me 2 minutes. I'll call you when I'm in the car. I flagged another deputy. I said, take over. Got into the patrol car, 90 miles an hour, calling my sergeant saying, this is what's happening. I'll keep you posted. That's what was happening.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, exactly.
And one of my vivid memories, so we get to the ER, right? And I'm sitting there in the waiting room with a towel over my head. And then there's a guy right across from me, and he has stitches from all across his neck.
Jesus.
From literally covering the entire circumference of his neck. Oh. And he just looks at me. He's like, what happened to you, buddy? And I'm 7, and I'm like, busted my head. He's like, oh, it ain't that bad. It's not as bad as this. And he points to all the stitches across his neck. And I'm 7, I just go, and I just stare, and I say absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
He's like, you'll be all right. And then that was it.
And do you remember what happened when I showed up?
No.
So you were locked in.
Yeah, that's why
actually
I was
awesome.
locked in.
Everyone was locked in, super stressed out, serious face. I walk in, everybody starts crying.
Oh God.
Immediately starts crying. Ina's hugging me. I pick her up. I'm looking at you. I'm looking at the doctor. I'm looking at your mom. And basically I went from one scene to this scene, and I had to take care of that.
Oh my God. And
Anita had her pajamas under her clothes.
Yeah, she
all
stuffed
tucked
them.
in. She looked like a laundry bag.
Hey!
I loved that. That was great.
You just locked in. You just
We were
like
super
you
locked
had
in.
the keys ready to go in seconds. I didn't even have to ask.
You were like, let's roll.
Yeah.
So they take me into the room, and the doctor like starts poking around my head. He's like, yeah, you need just 3 staples.
You'll be all right.
No, numbing. And he just grabs that staple gun and goes chunk, chunk, chunk. I didn't even feel it. Just straight cold turkey, that thing.
Yeah,
And
your
they
brain is don't piece.
Yeah, then they just send me on my way with a cherry popsicle.
There you go.
I got a popsicle out of it. So
Well, there you go. I do have a question for you. Love that story.
it's a great story.
It's one of those memories.
Yeah, still got the bald spot on the back of my head to this day.
Yes, you do. I love rubbing it too hard.
It's tender still.
What do you think about your brother being a Marine? As in, I talked about it on the last episode I did with Alec, where gamer didn't really like sports too much.
Hey,
I don't
Too
know.
much.
Did you like them?
Senior year, I rocked. I was team captain.
Senior year, I'm saying prior to that, though. Well, actually, we didn't even talk about that on the other episode.
Yeah.
We didn't even talk about how you changed.
It's because
Go ahead.
It's because of the sports program in our school was horrendous.
Yeah. Fair enough. But, I mean, you know Alec in a different capacity than I do.
Yeah, you do.
And when he was like, I'm going to be a Marine. So I think I said, are you sure? Because I've seen you carry a gallon of milk.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I think he did say that actually.
Oh my God.
But I want your perspective.
Well, it was his senior year, right? And then you guys were talking to Alec about like what he's gonna do, like colleges and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And Alec was like, He started like looking at college. It's like, holy shite, these are very expensive. And you're like, yeah, that's why I strongly suggest you join like a branch of the military. And you're like, oh, what about the military? And you're like, why?
The
Marines. My bad.
I was
Just
thinking
having
Air
a feature.
Force, Army.
That's what I was thinking too. And so you put me on with the recruiter.
Fair enough.
That's how you got there?
Yes, because Dad's like, oh, this Marine guy can help you with medical stuff. I was like, really?
Well,
You sure?
well, but I mean, what did you think though? Like seeing that transition?
I was like, I believed in him, obviously.
Of course.
Because I saw his change off. So I was like, okay, like he's
Oh,
working out, like he's really dedicated
Might
to it.
change.
So like I was like, he can do it, but I was like, never expected him to be in the. But now looking back, it makes sense knowing. But like at first, I was like, but honestly, I'm really proud of him, and I like love it because I mean, obviously he's gone a lot, but like just
Yes.
because he's bettering himself as a person.
Also true.
Mm-hmm.
So we did not talk about this. How did you, once you had it in your mind, you're like, I need to get in fucking shape. What did you do? I mean, obviously I know, but what did you do to
Finish it.
prepare? Yeah.
So
Already.
immediately joined track because you better love running.
Which I suggested him do.
So I joined cross country at the beginning of senior year. That sucked because my best mile at that time was 8 minutes and 30 seconds.
Dead ass.
Straight horrendous, right? So I joined cross country and like I'm in the back, like I'm a senior, like there's sophomores that are absolutely dusting me in cross country, and
You've never done it before.
but I've never done it before. Which I didn't let that really get to me because I knew I'm starting from nowhere. I need a starting point. So like busted my ass at cross country practices. Show up every day. I would train outside of cross country. I was just running. That's all I focused on for cross country season. Got such bad shin splints that I was limping around everywhere. To the point where I showed up one practice, I was like, oh my God, I can't walk. So I'm limping to the starting line for practice. The coach notices, is like, Alec, are you limping? I was like, no, I'm good, coach. I can handle it. He's like, no, you got to tell me this shit.
Yeah, let me know.
You got to tell me that you got these bad shin splints. But I pushed through it till eventually the shin splints just went away. And since then, I've never gotten shin splints.
Well, let me ask you this. Are you glad you got them then, or would you have rather had them in boot camp?
Oh, I'm so glad I got them that. Because
Exactly.
there's people that had shin splints in boot camp.
Horrendous.
And they were, yeah, it
their
was,
baby soft feet
Yep.
because they've never been beaten to shit with track and all that other stuff.
so that was cross country. It was just running. I got my first 3 mile ever was a 26-minute 3 mile. And a cross country, I ran like a 20:31 3 mile.
Nice. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was like, my best ever time was like 20 minutes, 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So I could run now. So then I joined track, and the coach was like, because your attitude and how you carried yourself during cross country, I'm gonna make you team captain.
There you go.
Which is like unheard of. Like first year team captain, that never happens. That's not a thing. So now I'm team captain of track, and I was like, okay, I can run now, but how about everything else? There's still pull-ups, push-ups, everything else that I still have to get better at.
Yep.
So after track practices, I would immediately go to our home gym that we have,
Yeah.
do 100 to 200 sit-ups, and do 100 push-ups, and then try to do as many pull-ups as I could every single day.
Oop.
Sundays as the rest day. I did that for 2 months during practice, and I went from skinny fat to athletic.
Yeah.
That's when I started running really fast. That's when I got pretty decently strong. That's when I started actually looking pretty good in the mirror.
Ooh. Well, I do remember I can't remember what part of it was in your training, but you called me one time. You're like, Dad, I actually feel better. My energy levels, I sleep better.
Yeah.
My skin feels better or looks better. I can't remember what you said.
Yeah, no, I didn't have to use any face creams anymore. I didn't have acne anymore.
And you were pouring all that shit out.
Yeah, because I was sweating every day.
What was it like from your perspective watching it?
Honestly, I didn't really realize it because I remember he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna join cross country," and I don't do that. I do like soccer, and I was like, "Cross country, good luck." I was like, "Have so much fun." Like I remember he'd come back from practices, and he's like, "This is shit. I'm so bad." And I'm like, you've never really ran before.
Yeah.
I don't even run distance. I do sprinting. So I don't even know how bad it is until we ran that 10K this summer,
It hurts.
which that was ass. But of course, Alec was like, this is work, no reaction, but whatever.
I stuck by your side the whole time.
Yeah. And I remember watching him and he was I remember he was talking about his legs. So I was doing stretches with him and stuff. And he was slowly getting better. And then I remember when he had the shin splint because he basically crawled around the house.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, Alec. And then I remember just literally randomly, I think his after cross country season, beginning of track, he came in one day without his shirt on, and I was like, when the fuck do you have abs? I didn't even realize his change until he was like, oh, I'm working out. I was like, what? And he flexed, and I was like, who is this diva? I didn't even really notice it until he was standing in front of me, and I was like, what the hell?
What is it?
And then I worked out with him one time, and he was like, okay, do 50 push-ups. And I was like, you think I can do 50 push-ups? He's so real.
What you didn't see, it took me forever to be able to do that. I could barely do 10. That the bird chest. No, absolutely no abs. Just that skinny fat build.
Yeah.
But 2 months of just track practice, and then immediately going to the gym after, going ham in the gym consistently.
Yeah.
It absolutely transformed my body.
Love it.
Very quickly.
So, Ina, you've been doing sports, forever.
Yeah, since second grade, I would say.
Did you guys were you on track together?
Yeah, we did track together.
His senior year, I was a sophomore, so we were in track together.
So we played on the same team.
How did that go?
It's fun because track is it's an individual but team sport. It kind of works by you guys need to score points. So say I got first in the girls 55-meter that higher you rank, the more points your team as a whole gets to win. But it's mostly an individual sport because you work on yourself besides for relay, which that's stressful. I'm not on the relay team, but
yes, gotcha.
But I remember watching Alec run the 2 mile, and I was like, oh, he's gonna die.
That was my first ever race that they put me in. Was the 2 mile. It was the worst race I've ever ran, ever. I ran it in 13 minutes, which is awful for the 2 mile. I was dead last. My body hurt. I couldn't breathe because it was indoors. Yeah. So the air is super fucking dry.
Yeah.
So the reason why my coaches put me in there, they just wanted to see my baseline.
Yeah.
So after that, they put me in the mile. And then for quite a bit, I did the 800 a lot. And oh my God, I hate that race. There was one 800 I ran, and everyone stared at me while I did. So I run through the finish line, but I keep running straight to the bathroom to puke my brains out.
Yeah, I remember I was like, someone gonna check on Alec. He doesn't look okay, because it was an indoor you were in that, right?
Yep, it was indoor. It was so bad. But once we got to outdoor track, at that point, I was very, very athletic.
Yeah.
I was trained. Because like I did like the PT sessions as like a poolee, which I came in first for all those training events. So like whenever we had to do the 1.5 miles first, like even pull-ups first, plank almost perfect. I couldn't hold a perfect plank yet, but I was getting there.
Got it.
But I was rocking it. At that point, I started feeling really good, and at least a little bit confident that I could actually do this.
I'm going to switch gears a little bit. I'm going to ask you guys, because I'm now remembering COVID and when COVID hit.
Oh my God, the workout.
Well, not just the workouts, but you guys were supposed to be in a play together. It was a really big deal. And I was very excited.
The Shrek play.
And then 2 weeks before that, they shut everything down.
Yeah, you told me to do that. Yeah, you told me to do theater.
I thought it would be great.
It's going to work on my public speaking.
It was actual bullshit, though. He literally never does anything, and I'm in this play, and I'm like, oh, Alec, like, you should do it with me. He's like, nah, I don't want to. I'm like, no, you should. He gets the lead fucking role, bro.
I get lead role.
I get guard number 2.
She got guard number 2.
No, that shit was actually ass,
I get
bro.
a lead role my first ever time trying it out. And like, I still remember the director was like, where have you been in my life?
Oh.
I was like, wow.
Got him.
Because apparently
and
I could
everyone
sing.
was excited to see Alec. They're like, we're gonna go fly down to see Alec. And I'm like, Lena's guard number 2. Like, I'm
Guard
important
number 2's
too.
fire though.
No one cared, though.
Choreography.
Okay.
So it was my first ever time acting, and now I have a lead role that I got to figure out. So I did it. I mean, I memorized the whole script as you're supposed to. I started like putting my own spin on it, like, and then
He was donkey, by the way.
I was Donkey, and my best friend at the time was Shrek, so it was golden. But COVID hits, and like our director does his absolute best to try to figure out a day to actually try to put it on. Keeps getting postponed, and then it just gets canceled, and we can't do it anymore.
Well, you guys got to at least practice together and see it. Was it at least fun when you were doing it together?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You guys make each other laugh.
I was especially like watching, because they would watch like anyone that had like a lead role. Everyone else would like watch them do it because like we had a lot of scenes, obviously.
Yeah.
And just watching Ina stare at me while I'm trying to be Donkey,
With rage.
just like shaking her
Rage
head.
and support.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was guard number 2 and a Duloc dancer. Bruh.
Eat.
Bruh.
You would have crushed it.
It's just
I
weird
would have.
because like the only extracurriculars I would do before that was like band. Band was it.
Yeah.
That's all I did
Yeah.
because I was good at it.
Yeah.
I was very good at it. Like I played saxophone for 6 years. I mean, I was just the band nerd theater kid.
I loved it. And actually, we're going to switch gears back to COVID in a second. But Alec, I can't remember how old you were. You're like, I want to make some money. And I'm like, just try playing music, whatever. Like background music. And you started doing it. And you were getting like $100 an hour. And I'm like, nope, that's too much money.
Yeah.
You need to go like clean toilets or some shit. Like, do you remember that?
So I did, yeah, because you're like, go play background music, thinking it would be like a little. So
Yeah, whatever.
I started making bank.
Yeah, you did. It was fucking insane. You even played a fucking wedding?
I played a wedding.
Yeah.
I played at a wedding and a
Oh my
restaurant.
God, you did do a wedding.
I did play a wedding.
Yeah, see?
What the hell?
So, I guess
Did they all love you?
they loved me, yeah. I mean, I was some young kid.
How old were you? I'm trying to remember.
When I did the wedding?
16?
I was 15.
Yeah, they paid you like $500.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, you can make money playing background music.
But then I realized that when I did those gigs, like they have no clue if I'm actually playing right or not.
No, they don't.
So I just would make shit up.
Yeah.
So I'll just put like a background track with different like keys, and I would just play those notes randomly.
Alex.
Improvised it, and then,
Bro.
but they loved it.
They
though.
loved it.
And then like
Nothing but positive feedback for everywhere you played. I'm like,
And then when
I'm happy. Oh,
but when I would get tired, I'd just play my keyboard. And I'd just play chords over and over again. She'll love it. Oh yeah. By the way, I made the intro to this podcast.
That's my voice.
I'm sorry. We all did.
We all did. What did
Who
you
put
do?
that beat down?
I put that beat down.
No, Dad did. You said, Dad,
Oh,
click the keyboard, and you went,
You're like, oh, wait. Why is that actually fire?
Yeah, the piano, because you were just messing around, and then I was listening to it. I was like, wait a minute, I can actually make this work. So I set up the drum beat, and I put a bass line on it.
So it was a collaborative effort.
And it turned out pretty good.
I mean, I'm not saying I'm like...
But Ina wanted to be involved with it. So she's
as she should.
She's the voice that you hear.
But my voice is 30 times
Obviously,
deeper.
I pitched it down and like I messed with it.
I love it.
But it's my voice.
But
so
yes,
yeah, that's the intro and outro.
Yeah.
And I don't give a shit. That's what it's always going to be.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I love it.
I made that when I was like 13.
Yeah, you did. It was great. But anyway, back to COVID. How did I never actually asked you, how did it affect you guys with school and sports and all that shit? Like, did it fucking bother you at all? Or did you not give a shit?
I mean, I was a shut-in that loved playing video games. So there's some pretty good stuff that came out of that. Like, I would just hop off class or during class, depending what mood I was in. Just play video games all day. It was great.
You know?
I didn't mind it. I was just mostly mad that, like, you couldn't do anything and you just had to be home.
Yeah.
But I would say it did affect us in school, or at least me, because, like, teachers will be teaching us something, and they're like my COVID happened when I was in 6th grade, so they're like, you should learn this, like, in 6th grade. And we're like,
COVID.
We didn't. And they're like, oh, that was your COVID year, so we have to skip that. So, like, we have this, like, gap of learning.
We did have a gap of learning, and it definitely, once we got back into school, 100% affected your, like, mostly math for me, because, like, you build off of it. So I got into, like, there's like Algebra 2 honors.
Yeah.
And there's like stuff from Algebra 1 that we never learned.
You skipped Algebra 1?
Well, I was in Algebra 1 8th grade because I was kind of smart.
Oh, you're not allowed.
Yes, I was one of those kids. Yeah. Band and high honors. Come on.
There you go.
Don't.
You know, do you feel like it's hindered you now? Or have
No,
you kinda
I'm
caught
chilling
up?
now. But we also have the World Wide Web now. So it's like, if I don't know something, I look up a video on it.
Yeah, we just looked it up.
Fair enough.
But, like, back then it was like, yeah.
Turns out there's knowledge on the internet. Who knew?
Well, so again, we're just going to kind of rapid fire these things. So I've asked you both individually, but you're both together now. It's something I've started thinking about now because you guys were already around when I went into law enforcement. And I went from being 9 to 5 corporate dad, I guess, to sporadic, working all the time. And you guys were with me through Hillsborough, State Police, Secret Service. And I always wondered what you guys thought about those transitions and what you felt like in the moment and then what you think about it now.
I mean, obviously when I was like, hey, my dad's a cop, right? I had pride in saying that.
Mm-hmm.
I loved talking about what you did to my buddies or people that just had random questions.
Yep.
And then when you did like the federal agent stuff, that was really cool. Mm-hmm. Like not feel like, you know, you have like random kids I never talked to because you came in for a career day.
Oh yeah.
And like they'd be like, "Is your dad James Bond?"
Pretty.
And I know in my brain you're just standing post for 12 hours. I was like, yeah, sure, totally.
Yeah.
But you know, it was just cool that I got to brag about you a little bit, and then obviously when they would see your size, they're like, "Wow, your dad could beat my dad in a fight."
Got him. What about you, baby?
I don't remember you being a corporate dad because I think I was too little.
Yeah, you were.
So I only remember you in like law enforcement. But I mean, I guess since I was used to it, it was fun, and I liked telling people that who you were in that because they were like, "Oh my god, your dad's a spy," and I was like, "Yeah, you definitely can't hear his knee crack from 1 mile away, but he is a spy." And everyone thought you were so cool and stuff. So I was like, I took a lot of pride in it as well. Obviously, I didn't like how like much you were gone, but I knew it was for like a good cause and stuff, and I always felt safe around you, and I still do.
What did you guys think about when I started traveling around the world? Because that was new for me too. You got to understand, like I'm experiencing these things for the first time as well, and most of the time I'm just either so tired or so busy. It's not until now, actually, that I've even started thinking about how that affects.
Yes. So you sent us photos of like all the places you've been, and my favorite photo of you is when you were in Japan and you had this gallon beer mug in front of you. And all they would say to you, you told me, is like, for big guy.
Yes. Well, I'll give you that story. So there's a British expat restaurant. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but everyone just knows where it's at. Every time you go to Japan, everybody goes there. We have the big dinner there. And it's beers and all these food. It's great. It's a fucking great time. And we had liter beer glasses, and I was jokingly saying, hey, these mugs are too small. Don't you have any bigger mugs? Joking. Everyone laughs. The owner goes,
Yeah, we do.
wait a second. I'll be right back. He brings out this gallon mug, and everyone laughs and ha 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 ha. And out of spite, I drink all of it.
Yeah, you do that a lot.
It was a terrible idea.
Yeah, you do a lot of things out of spite.
Yeah. Spite ninja kicks in.
Yep.
So, yes. I went from having a really fun, festive night to I finished that, and I went back to the hotel room and I slept because I was done.
Yep.
But that's how that went.
That's so great.
But everybody loved it. What about you, baby?
I was jealous of it.
You were jealous?
Yeah, because I wanted to travel the world too.
Yeah.
I thought it was so cool. Like when you send the pictures, I was like, oh my god, I want to be there. But yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. In the sense that, because again, you guys grew up in a small town. Did it say, oh, there's other shit out there? I'm trying to put a positive spin on it, not just all negative, but it's like, oh, I want to go travel. I'm going to expand my horizon, expand my world.
Yeah, especially after I went to Paris too.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, there's so much more out here. And when I came back to our tiny town, I was like, freak all you guys. I don't need this. I was like, there's so much more out here than this tiny town. It kind of gave me a better mindset about it.
Did you enjoy your time in Paris?
I did a lot. I love the croissants. They're very good. The croissants.
Yeah. So once I joined the Marine Corps, and then I came back to town, and I saw classmates and buddies all still there.
Yeah.
Just still hanging around and doing whatever job they were doing in the small town. Just how closed-minded they were. They just absolutely refuse to accept that there's other stuff out there.
And that it might be worth the suffering and the pain and the struggle to achieve those.
Yep. It's if it took any effort, it's not worth it. That's their mentality.
Yeah. Obviously my grade's about to graduate. We're juniors right now, and we're halfway through. So everyone's thinking about colleges and stuff. And I'm like, oh yeah, I don't want to our school is also not helpful. They do a lot of things where it's go to community college around an hour or 30 minutes away from home. So they're not very helpful with that. So every kid's take this class. And it's kind of stupid though, because it's either an AP class, a class for a college around where we live, or a CP class. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of not fair. So I usually take either the AP class or the CP class. And people are like, why are you doing this? This is good for your future. And I'm like, well, I don't want to go to school around here. And they're like, why wouldn't you want to go to school in Maine? And I'm like, I don't want to go to the 13th grade with all of you guys.
Yeah, we would call it the 13th grade. So half my class went to the community college. That's basically right next to the school.
Yep.
And the nickname for it is 13th grade.
Fair enough. Again, this is a podcast that gets broadcast all over. Nothing against community college.
Yes.
Nothing against college in general.
No, college is college. I'm happy for my buddies that went and stuff. I'll never poo-poo on them.
No, but what I'm saying is, when you asked me 5 years, maybe 10 years ago, college is the way. It's the only way. It's the way you change your social status, all these things. I don't feel that way anymore. I think it's unfair to expect there's some kids that grow up, they know exactly what they want to be, and they do it, and they achieve it, and that's their career.
Yeah.
That's amazing. But I think it's unfair for the majority to say, hey, you got to figure this shit out at 18, and this is your career path.
Yeah.
On top of that, again, Maine being a very blue-collar state, which I fucking love, plumbing, electricity.
Which we had classes at school.
Fuck yeah, dude. You can come right out of high school.
Already an apprentice.
Make them $80,000 a year, no debt.
Or you're
a skill set that people actually value.
Or if you really were committed to it, and you did all the years and all the classes you could, you come out with a journeyman's license.
Yeah. Which I find, so I've learned that when I was trying to find other employment outside of Secret Service, I don't have any skills. You think you do, but it's not really stuff that people fucking need. I don't know how to build anything. I don't know how to fix anything. I'm learning. I'm barely DIY efficient. And I find myself reaching out to people that have been either doing this for a long time or they group it away where they had to do it themselves.
Yeah.
So I'm a huge believer in obtaining some sort of fucking skill set.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what
Which
a lot of my buddies did. They did the programs in high school and they got their journeyman's license, and right out of high school they're working for a plumbing company or an HVAC company and making good money out the gate.
Fucking right, buddy. So anyway, I've nothing against that. There's just so many different options. I hate to pigeonhole anybody like, oh, you have to go to college, you have to go to Ivy League, you have to go to like. Not everything's for stuff's not for everybody. Like we talked about yesterday, military's not for everybody.
Absolutely not.
Not for everybody. College is not for everybody.
No, yeah.
But I think that a lot of that people get pigeonholed that shit, and I was one of them. I did the same shit. I got a fucking business degree, thinking I was going to be a millionaire. Fucking hated that shit. Hated it. And I mean, you can chalk it up for what it is, but I definitely like to be able to expand. I mean, I try not to use names, but the teenager that my buddy's daughter in Paris, before she went to Paris, college, like that was her mindset. And then she was in Paris. She's like, oh, I'm going to be a fashion designer. Like, she started getting into that Parisian lifestyle. She did an internship in New York for 3 weeks. She's like, this shit fucking blows. I don't want to do this shit.
Yeah.
But it didn't destroy her. She's like, oh, I'm going to go do culinary school. Or she's like, for her, like, there's not one avenue that leads to success.
Correct.
There's not one thing that interests her. And I think that, I find that extremely helpful and beneficial. But there's people who grew up in the Midwest that they're generational farmers, and like they knew when they were born they were going to go farm.
Yeah.
We fucking need farmers. Like we need that shit.
We need food. You need food.
That's a hard lifestyle.
Yeah, farming lifestyle is hard as hell.
Fucking right. But I guess what I'm trying to, I mean, again, you guys are still young. You're still early in your career.
I'm really in my career.
You haven't started yours yet. But with me traveling so much and being gone so much, I'm hoping, I guess I'm trying to validate myself a little bit. Hopefully I've brought back some stuff saying like, look, there's a whole fucking world out here.
Yeah.
And how did that influence you?
Well, it definitely helped when I joined the Marine Corps because travel is part of it. I'm going to see parts of the world now. It's going to happen. I'm going to get deployed. Everyone gets deployed. I'm going to be out of the country for the first time, and I'm excited. Maybe not in the best of places, but nonetheless, I'll be seeing something else that is not the United States, which I think is very good. It's one, it will make you appreciate what you have back at home, and also it will make you appreciate different cultures and different ways of life.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would say, because Alec has never been out of the country, like you said. My first time was Paris, and I mean, it was very eye-opening to see, like, the difference between everything, and, like, and when I came back, I was like, oh, I'm finally home. Like, I was really excited to come back, but then I was, like, also, like, oh, I want to see more places now. Like, I think it's very, I know some people don't have the opportunity to travel a lot, but I think if you ever do, you should take it, because it's definitely helps your mindset change, especially while you're like younger.
Yeah, and I'll say this as well. I fucking love the United States. I've traveled almost all over the world. I've been to, well, I guess what you would call first world countries, third world countries, everything in between. So I've got to see it, and I'm thankful that I got to see it. But I will say, every time I came back, I'm like, thank God I can take a shower in a bathroom that fits me. Because in Europe, they don't give a shit about you. Everyone must be 5'5" there. I don't understand.
Yeah.
I could eat all the food, well, within reason. I don't have to worry about parasites.
Yes, in your water and food.
I can go to a grocery store. I don't worry about the cops trying to just straight rob me, because in other countries,
they can do that.
They'll just take your shit. Hey, I like your shit. Give it to me. I like your watch. Give it to me.
Yeah.
And there ain't a fucking thing you do about it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Africa for me was probably one of the most eye-opening. They're used to eating one meal a day. Yeah. Doesn't necessarily have to be breakfast, lunch, or dinner time. Just one meal a day. And that's why it's like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. All those meals that they served in the hotel were full, like rice, beans, soup, pizzas, like the whole, I mean, I'm like, who eats this shit for breakfast? Like, this is insane. They're like, this might be the only meal of the day. And so you come back and you're like, holy shit, this is a great place.
Yes.
Where you can make it. I'm trying to think. There's some other stuff. So like, again, in Africa, Africa and South America, actually, I've been in a few countries in South America. Both of them are similar in this story path. Everyone that worked in the military and law enforcement, or even because you would also get drivers, they would say, hey, how is it being in law enforcement in the United States or in the military? Because sometimes they don't really understand the difference. And I'm like, oh, I mean, it's fine. Yeah. You sign, you applied, you get in or whatever. They're like, well, how much did it cost you? I'm like, what do you mean cost me? No, they pay me to do this. They're like, what do you mean? But like for them, they didn't understand that.
Yeah.
In other countries, they have to fork over thousands of dollars just for the opportunity to get in. They might not even make it.
Wow.
They have to buy all their own gear. They don't get to travel, and they don't get paid that much.
Jesus.
In Africa, the drivers were getting paid $2 a day, U.S. for 12-hour days. Most of them slept in their car overnight and would be ready in the morning.
That's crazy.
South America, same thing. They're like, this is the best job you can get in this country. And they were making $400 to $500 a month. They were like, with this, I can feed my entire family.
Wow.
Yes. So when people are like, oh, fuck America, I hate America, I'm like, you have no idea. And most of them don't, because like you said, they've never been outside the country. You need to go see these countries and experience them, not just for a day or a flyover and don't just stay in the hotel. Go walk around, see what's up.
Yeah.
It's not what you think. I remember, I think it was Vietnam. We eat all our meals in the hotel because they're like, hey, you can't eat the food. Don't drink the water. Don't get ice in your drink if you're going to go out. Don't do it. And so, but we still wanted to go out and see. So we walked around the markets. They had animals that were skinned. Let's just put it this way. They're not what we typically eat here.
Aren't they like wet markets?
There's also wet markets.
What is that?
So a wet market is this place where you could buy exotic meats, but they're horrendously unsanitary. But I'm talking like dogs, cats, frogs, bats,
mice,
like
rats.
things that you don't usually get in the grocery store.
Correct. They don't really have grocery.
They don't. They don't.
They don't understand.
That doesn't exist.
But again, they don't know.
Yeah.
They don't know what they don't know. And so people just shit on America. You see it. It's just, it blows my mind. I'm like, you've never been outside the fucking country. Or if you have, you're lying.
Yeah.
You're fucking lying.
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
So, like, just one time, the thing that, like, really makes me mad nowadays is, like, one time we were doing our finals, so we, like, have different block ones. So, like, obviously the pledge goes off. No one stands for the fucking pledge anymore. And this one time, this girl almost crashed out. She didn't stand. And this one person was like, oh, like, why are you standing for the pledge? And she's like, I won't stand for a country that doesn't fucking like me. And she was, like, one of those, like, yeah. And, like, I was like, oh. I, like, crashed out. And, like, other countries, other people were like, oh, wow, why would I stand for the pledge? I already live here. That's respectful enough.
There you go.
I was like, oh, okay. And, like, after going to Alec, like, Marine graduation, I was like, you don't even know what these people go through to fight for our country. Like, it really bothered me.
Actually, just brought up the point, son. Did you have anybody gain immigration status by joining?
Yes.
I'm a huge fan.
If you don't live in the country and you join the military, and if you join the military, you can gain citizenship,
which is amazing.
And you could also gain citizenship for your family.
Yeah, I'm all about it. Though.
A quarter of my platoon was there, so they could get their family out of their country and bring them to the United States.
Yes.
So when I would talk to them, you're like, yo, I'm not only here to better myself, but I'm here to essentially save my family.
Dude, and I love it, and I respect it.
And, like, you know,
that's a different motivation.
I had nothing but respect for them. And they're 19, 18.
Yeah.
Doing this, like, just saving their families.
I didn't even think to ask you that in the other one. Hey, think about this. We'll just phrase it this way because I don't want to speak for all of the United States. How many of your classmates could have made it through or would even have the desire or the maturity to think about something?
I want to say little to none. Obviously, you always have those couple few. I was just like, absolutely, they could do it. But majority of my classmates, absolutely not. If anything required effort, they wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
And Marine Corps boot camp is hard as shit.
Oh, yeah.
It challenges you in every way possible. So they couldn't. That's not fair. They could not do it.
There you go. And so that's what I'm trying to say. We're not talking about immigration or anything like that because these are all large scale issues. But it's like there's plenty of people around the world that want to be here so bad.
Yes.
That they are willing to serve our country in the military to, one, be a part of the United States, but two, to help their families. As well. And I'm like, yes, all fucking day long. You want to come here and serve and learn and create business, whatever. Fucking let's rock and roll.
Yeah. So that's one thing. So people
entitlement here is
that's
the U.S.
That's what I was about to touch. So the entitlement, right? So the typical American dream, right? It's not just given to you. You have to earn that.
Oh yeah.
You have to earn the American dream.
People. I was born here.
That's what that you have to go get it.
Yeah.
The reason why it's the American dream is like you have the opportunity to go get it, but it's not just given to you, and people think it's supposed to be given to you.
And we talked about this offline, and this is for both of you, because you guys are grinding. You're new in your careers, but you're doing it. You're learning. You want to be successful, and this is what I try to explain: political ideology and stuff. It's like I don't think either one of you. So it's hard. In a global perspective, you were born in the greatest place on earth with all the potential you could ever, you could do whatever you wanted to do as long as you were willing to work for it. But U.S. standards, you weren't born with silver spoons in your mouth. You had to earn it. You had to go to school,
correct,
do the work. You had to go through, you had to join them, the military, whatever it is you chose, right? You're working your way to success.
Yes.
And I've asked, and you get to a point of success, and now someone's like, that's not fair. He was born, with a silver spoon in his mouth. I deserve half of what he's got, or I deserve to take what he's got, or he didn't earn that. And how would that make you feel?
Yeah, pissy.
Sorry, let me simplify that question. How many kids did you go to school with that didn't give a fuck about school, didn't do their homework, didn't show up, would crash out on their teachers, which for those of you who are above the age of 20, means have a violent outburst or an attitude or an argument.
Yes.
I do like crash out. But how many of them did that and they barely squeaked by? They graduated. They were pushed through high school.
Half the school.
But now they're going to say, oh, the world's against me.
Half the school.
Yeah, I even see it in my grade now. Because
it's wild.
Like, I have this math teacher. I really like him. He really pushes you. And, he's also, a college professor. So, he really, he goes, if you have an A in my class, you actually earn the A. I'm not those other teachers who just give you the A so I can be best friends with you guys. No, you have to, earn it. And, a lot of the kids in my class freak out and they go, blah, 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 such a hard teacher, blah, 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 why won't he, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, that's because you guys don't understand what hard work is. I don't even have an A in that class, and I work my ass off trying to study and stuff. I try so hard, but, he's trying to, prepare us for, colleges and stuff. And every kid in the class is he's not grading correctly, he's unfair. And I'm like, you guys have never experienced hard work in school before.
Yeah.
Yeah, nowadays you just get pushed through school, so they don't have to deal with you.
That's
for longer periods of time.
And then those same kids that get pushed through. See, I think it's all unfair. Those same kids that get pushed through, they're going to hit the real world, where they've always been told how special and brilliant and bright they are.
No, they're not.
And they're not going to be as successful as they thought they were going to be.
Yeah.
And then they become bitter, and they become angry, and then it's everybody else's fault.
Correct. And it's just, it sucks to see, but they did it to themselves.
Yeah.
They're just not giving a shit.
Well, it's hard to blame kids. It's what I'm saying. It's a huge problem. It's parenting. It's the school system. It's
the lack of
all the above. And I could remember going to your guys' parent-teacher stuff, and there would be 20 parents there.
Yeah.
And the teachers would be like, oh my God, it's so great to see somebody who actually gives a shit about their kids and their education. Most parents just say, this is your job, not mine. If they're failing, it's because you're not teaching them right.
Yep.
That's the kind of shit that I would hear as a parent.
Because most teachers get shit on by parents because usually the kid will get a D because they just didn't do the work. And then they
didn't do the work. It's they didn't even turn something in.
They didn't even turn it in. The fact that you got a D is crazy.
Yeah.
But they'll go home, complain to their parents that that they obviously didn't deserve it and that the teacher's crazy and then parent-teacher conferences or over email, it was just the parents like, you need to give my kid an A.
Same thing, baby girl?
Mm-hmm. And they do.
They do?
Mm-hmm.
You've seen it work out that way?
I have seen it work out.
Because the teachers just don't want to deal with it.
I know you had a moment where National Honor Society and
God.
one of your classmates.
D1 crash out.
Yeah. One of your classmates did not fill out the paperwork or whatever it
No.
was.
Can I say my point of view? I'll say it very respectfully and nicely.
Yes.
So obviously National Honor Societies all over the world, right? So like you have to have a high enough GPA to even get an invitation. You get invited.
Yeah.
Invited to go to even have a chance. You fill out this whole thing, you turn it in, you have to wait. I didn't get in. That's okay. Like obviously like I didn't get in because I lacked some like leadership stuff because it's kind of hard to get that stuff when you're a younger like underclassman kind of like. So like I was perfectly fine. I didn't get in. I was like, okay, maybe I could try again next year. But what really made me mad is I saw one girl in my class. We were talking about it in one of my AP classes, and they're like, "Oh, we were all filling out together like the NHS thing." And she's like, "I didn't get invited to that." And we're like, "Oh, then I guess maybe you didn't meet some of the qualifications to get invited." She's like, "That's bullshit." I watched her march down to the NHS office, and they were in our science classroom at the time, and I had science textbook with her. She goes, "So I haven't high enough GPA. Can you send me the invitation?" And she's like, "Oh my God, of course." And this was the day before like all like the forms were submitted in. She's like, "And I'll give you a week extension so you can fill it out." And I crashed out. I was like, that is unfair. And she got accepted into NHS, and me and my other friend who got actually like invited the fair way didn't. That's what made me mad. I'm not mad I didn't get accepted. I'm mad she begged her way in and got accepted.
Yes.
And I have my experiences with failure or not being able to get into something.
Yep.
So when I was at the police function, they saw my grades. They were like, "Hey, you can try out and try to submit an application for OCS. Try to go to officer candidate school just out the bat." So, I put in all the stuff that I could. I go to the OCS office in Boston, do the fitness test there. Didn't do terrible, but not the best. And didn't get accepted. I didn't have perfect fitness scores. I didn't have not enough leadership qualities because I joined sports last year, high school. I didn't have enough stuff. But it happens. Like that means just be better. Like not everything is given to you.
Right. And you still went through with it anyway.
And I still went through. I was like, okay, do second option.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I'm saying. And that's where I struggle. But again, I'm trying to explain these things, and as a parent, it's hard to see your kids not get what they want, what they strive for, what they're working for. But also, that's reality, right?
Yes.
It's the real world. You don't always get what you want, even if it's not fair, even if you should have got it, whatever, right? You can't let it just tear you down to the point where giving up on everything, right? Because you didn't get Honor Society or you didn't get OCS candidates.
Wait, can I say another thing too?
Go ahead.
Another thing that pissed me off about it in our school for National Honor Society. So it's National Honors Society, right? Yeah. So you need to be in an honors class, right? No.
It's a soft.
No, it's not even. No, it's because our school is so fucked up for it. Half the people that got accepted into it have never been in an honors class before because I'm in all of them. Yeah. Half of them have never seen an honors class, and then they wear the shirts around. They don't deserve that shit. Sorry.
It makes it seem less than.
It's like, I don't even want to be part of the club then. If anyone can get in, I don't want to be in it.
There you go.
Yeah, what I learned, because I was in National Honor Society. Yes, I got in. I don't know how. I just did.
Slow roast.
Yeah, it's fine.
This is not a humble brag, but.
Oh, and I've never been invited back because I crashed out on the National Honor Society teacher.
Well.
I didn't know that. So, it's a popularity contest.
Yeah.
Because the majority of people that were in the National Honor Society were popular. And I didn't realize it till a little later that, like, I taught my best friend since 4th grade, perfect as a 5.0, like, weighted GPA. Yeah. Perfect. He didn't get in because he wasn't popular. He didn't go out, but he would spend all this time just studying at home. Yeah. And I felt like he should have gotten it, but since he wasn't that known around the school, he didn't get it.
He was also your valedictorian.
He was also our valedictorian, and he wasn't in National Honor Society.
But also, I think he'll be okay.
Yeah, he's more than fine. He's doing aerospace engineering. And he got his whole school paid for because of academic scholarship. I think he'll be fine.
I think he'll.
No, but it's just the point.
No, I get it. No, that was the point. Right?
Yeah.
People just having to whine and beg their way to get something, even though they didn't earn it.
No.
Yeah.
It's just annoying watching it happen. And I'm just like, and my other friend who like didn't get accepted either. She wasn't even mad. She didn't get accepted. She's like, yeah, I don't have enough like volunteer hours, stuff like that. And she's like, she also saw the girl beg her way and she was also mad. She's like, that's just not fair.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
Well, guys, we have some reverse seared steaks we got to go make.
Absolutely.
I wanted to get something down with all three of us because I love it.
Yeah. It's awesome.
We're on our way to Florida.
That's right.
Yes, we are.
Kaiji.
Kaiji.
All right. I love you, son. I love you, my baby.
Love you, Dad.
Love you, Dad.
Thank you, guys.